Hi, I'm Assemblyman John McKeon, and I was a part of the Food Stamp Challenge. I'm going to first very much thank the JCC and the affiliate organizations for giving me the opportunity. A lot of you out there watching this are volunteers, and as you know, you end up getting a lot more back than it is that you're actually giving to the group or the people that you're trying to support. And that certainly was the case with me, and from discussions with all 17 of my other colleagues in the legislature that took up the challenge. Couple thoughts I learned about the history of food stamps, if you will. It goes back to the 1930s. Henry Wallace, the Secretary of Agriculture under FDR, actually had that program to create a market for surplus food for farmers. God knows there were plenty of millions of hungry people, but not necessarily anybody having the means to take some of the food that the farmers could grow. So that's where the program had its genesis, and in '61 under President Kennedy, it became that stamp piece that we now know of, where you'd actually give, for example, $2, and you'd in return get about $4 worth of stamps, and that was used to reclaim food. It changed under the Johnson administration, and Bill Clinton, signed a law to allow the states to promulgate the program, and all get done, give or take, by the year 2000. And there's no stamps anymore, but rather they're almost like debit cards that are used and collateralized on a monthly basis. So in any event, I found that part of it interesting to know the history of the program. Give or take, $4 a day, for a person to eat. It's not impossible, but it really, really is hard to do. But I'll tell you what made it palatable, if you will, to use that term. Knowing that it was over. Whether you measured, a week was going to be 5 days, the weekdays, or if it was going to be a full 7 days, you knew it was going to come to a conclusion. Just read a great book on Broken, and Laura Hildebrand could make you feel hungry in the way she writes based on that story if it was after a Thanksgiving meal. But that was interesting timing for me, just having read that and the pangs of hunger of those who were on a raft for 45 days and let alone for a couple years in a Japanese prison of war camp. So that was an interesting twist to it. But it all came to me that I knew it was completed. And then I kept thinking, suppose it wasn't going to be a week, but a month, a year, a whole childhood, one's golden years. That's what's really difficult, to be able to continue to nourish oneself with that paucity, quite frankly, of resources. The other thought I had was the circumstances I found myself in. It's one thing to say, hey, in a week I know this will be over. I had a car, gasoline, I had a wonderful warm home and a clean bed, and I would expect that all those individuals that are on food stamps, for the most part, face a different lifestyle than all of us in the legislature who took this challenge are fortunate enough to enjoy. So in that regard, it made me think deeply about how hard it really is. And then finally, I was struck by some negative comments I got, not just on social media, but in person from people who I respect, who just had a different perspective about a giveaway program, and not understanding the gross number of folks that really do need these supports, who are food deprived, how many of them are children and seniors, and the real need in order for the greatest nation that was ever on the face of the earth to be in a position to really make certain that our fellow citizens don't go to bed hungry. So it's with that in a new resolve that I'm going to work collaboratively with members of the legislature. Although it's a federal program, hopefully we can have some influence on some little components that a lot of us picked up that we think can be delivered in a better way, and hopefully lobby our state representatives and our legislative team in Washington to think about returning to levels that they're just a little more realistic relative to providing basic nutrition for our citizens. Again, thank you very much.